Thank you for your interest in DMI's InterestNet software. Let's take a look at one of its many features. InterestNet gives users the ability to set up and calculate a variety of IRS penalties. In this video, we will look at the Accuracy Related Penalties. These penalties are accessible from the navigation bar's Penalties group. Upon selecting the Accuracy Related option, you will be prompted to create a new data file if you have not already done so. Click Yes, and type the name you wish to give your data file. Then click the Save icon. Select the designated area you wish to save your file, and click Save. When you arrive at the Accuracy Related Penalty screen, a default tax module will have already been added to the module list at the top of the screen. Since this module was automatically added to the system, the Edit Module screen will automatically be displayed as well. This is where the user can set the defining parameters of the tax module. Use the available controls on this screen to select the parameters for the module, such as jurisdiction, tax type, interest rate table, and tax period. You may also edit the description and tax ID if desired. In this case, we will set up a module for a Form 1040 return for the year 2011 for Joe Taxpayer. Note that if all the user wants to do is quickly check a penalty calculation, the above steps may be omitted, and the user can exit this screen and go directly to setting up the penalty data. For accuracy-related penalties, these settings do not affect the calculations and are used to identify the tax module. Once the parameters have been set, click the Save icon. Next, choose Accuracy Related from the Selections bar menu. The Accuracy Related Penalty screen allows the user to set up any or all of this type of penalty at once. They will be displayed in the list of the penalties at the top of the screen as they are added. To add a penalty, click the Add button and select Negligence from the list of penalties, since that is the type we will be demonstrating. Only penalties that are checked on will be computed, so we will turn on the penalty we just added. In the middle section of the screen is where the penalty detail is entered. Certain dates will have default values, such as the return due date, which will be based on the tax type and period of the module. Any dates with default values may be edited as needed. To set up the penalty, input the parameters as required. In this example, we will leave the due date of April 15, 2012, since it correctly represents the date of the 2011 Form 1040 return. We will leave the extended due date blank. We must select the applicable penalty rate from the drop-down box. This will be defaulted to the normally applicable value based on penalty type, return year, and other factors, but in many cases, it can be changed or overridden based on certain criteria. In this case, we will leave it at the default of 20%. Next, we need to define the tax amount that the penalty will be computed on. There are two ways to do this. We will first focus on the simplest method, manual entry. This is accomplished by using the Override feature. Check the Override checkbox and enter the amount of tax as it would appear on the tax return. In this case, we will use an assessment amount of $35,000. Once this is done, click the Process button to compute the results. The penalty results screen will appear at the bottom. This lists any existing penalty transactions, if selected, on the left, which is not the case in this example. On the right, it lists the penalty transactions that would be added to the module data based on the computed results. Since we are just doing a quick calculation on manually entered data, this is not applicable either, so we will go right to the penalty report by clicking the Report button. The Negligence Penalty Report shows the relevant module and penalty parameters and the detailed results of the calculation. The user has options to print and export the report. As mentioned earlier, there is another method to define the penalty detail that is based on having actual tax module transaction data in the module you are working in. This involves selecting tax subject to penalty and existing penalty transactions from the data already in the tax module and will be covered in a different tutorial video. The other penalties in this group are also accessible on this screen and may be added to the list as required by clicking the Add button. While slightly different in the detail the user must assign when setting up the penalty, their layout and function is essentially the same as the negligence penalty. After viewing this tutorial, the user should be able to also complete and calculate them. This concludes our look at the Accuracy Related Penalty feature. Please see our other videos for more features of the InterestNet software.